With us now from Atlantic City, Barnegat, all that shore kind of area, is Sherri. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Good, Donna. Thank you.
Thank
Really
you.
excited.
Well, we appreciate you calling in today. And, sometimes it's a little challenging for us because we're doing things via Skype and technology, and you're being so far away. But I have really enjoyed all the phone calls that we've shared with one another, and I'm so excited to feature you today. What made you decide to start this company?
Really goes a little bit far back to when I was in seventh grade. It was a lot going on. I was being bullied. I really didn't have many friends at all, getting made fun of. So seventh grade was super lonely, just kind of going through school, coming home, not any kind of like friend contact. So it was a lot, it was sad. Well, the summer of seventh grade going into eighth grade, I matured. And when I went into eighth grade, it was like everybody wanted to be my friend. Now
Hmm.
because my appearance changed, it was like, oh, now boys want to date me and people want to be my friend. So little did I know back then that I was starting to believe that what was inside didn't matter. It was more about my appearance.
Okay.
So from there, I started modeling and, then eventually opened up my own business. Not saying that modeling's bad. I loved it. I had a great time. But at one point, I started to realize that I didn't even know who I was. Like, I didn't know what was going on really within. So it was wild because around that time, I got a postcard from church just to, to visit this new church, and I did. Well, these wonderful ladies just started pouring into me. I started to get to know more of who I was. And I thought, okay, if I'm dealing with this and I saw, myself not really having a backbone, not really knowing my true identity, I was like, I know there's so many other girls dealing with the same thing. So I went back to school. I got my master's in counseling and I counseled for a while. Then I started girls programs that taught them the true identity within. And then a little bit longer later, I started coaching. So now I do a lot of life coaching for young girls and women. So that's really how it transpired. And my passion is to help girls have that true identity of who they are, and have those goals so that they can live out how they were created.
I think there was a duality to my existence from sixth grade, going into high school and beyond. Because, there was almost like there was, I'm just going to
Mhm.
share with the audience, like two parts of me. There was
Yes.
the part of me that would be the outside person that might say everything was fine and, oh, this is okay, and oh, yeah, ha 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 ha. Like, I tried to stay chipper, but inside, a lot of times I was hurting. Like,
Yeah.
I got bullied. Um, Sometimes I felt like people would only call me if they needed a ride. I always felt like, even at sleepover somehow, like I don't know, like I just didn't belong. And yet, other times in my life, like I belonged to this great group, Futures of America, and we were traveling and we were going to Disney and we were having all these great experiences. So my whole life has always seemed to be a balance between things that are super negative in my life and super positive. Like it's hard to kind of keep that even keel, that balance, if you will. And I know that during adolescence, it's so confusing. It's such a hard time, for boys and girls or young men and young women, just trying to find, like you said, who they are, what defines them, what's going to sustain them. And a lot of times the peer pressure happens, or we want to fit in, and we sometimes make bad choices. And I know on the phone, you were talking about the fact that, hey, life has not always been so rosy for you. Sometimes you've fallen on your face, completely fallen on your face.
Mhm. Yeah, and that has actually like those times of falling, you kind of look back, but and what you've learned from it too. Like now I could say, "Oh, I learned this and I learned that," but in the midst of it, and I think it's a difference too, Donna, because I love that we can relate, like, just probably like with every other girl in America, right? Dealing with the adolescent years. But it's like back then when I fell at least, I would beat myself up, like I didn't have that resilience. So that's another thing that I love to teach on is resilience and helping girls to say, or laugh, even laugh when they make a mistake. Like it's okay. Because I think it becomes like that vicious cycle. Then you don't want to step out because you're going to just, beat yourself up. So looking back, learning from the mistakes are key. But I think at adolescence, unless you have somebody guiding you, like you said, you don't even know who you are, and you don't have that foundation to stand on. So that's why I'm so passionate about, because I write a girls magazine, and I have the programs like each week so that girls can just feel they have something else, like they have a strength outside of school. Because especially with now, more than ever, there's so much change and not knowing, and even identity now, Donna. Like, that kids, it's kind of like, who am I anymore? So I just love self-discovery, helping even women. There was things I didn't learn about myself until I was 30 years old. I was like, oh, I love painting.
And there you go. I know it's always, seeking different experiences and, just being kind to ourselves and loving ourselves. And I think self-love is really important. And before we wrap up, how can someone engage with you? I know you have programs, workshops, you have calls, you customize each program for people. So how does that begin for someone?
Yeah, so that's great. They can either visit the website, or I even have a YouTube. It's Sherri Lynn Life Coaching. So I put out like some great videos, how to handle, your strong emotions, just taking better care of yourself. And number one, I just have to say, Donna, you hit the nail on the head. It's self-care, like how to take care of yourself. But yeah, the website, even a Gmail, integritylifecoaching@gmail as well.
Excellent. I thank you so much. We have mutual friends in common that introduced us. And happy journeys to you, and I wish you all the best. And I know that you're making a difference in a lot of lives, and so I support you and give you a big round of applause for that, Sherri.
Thank you.
Okay, be well.
You.
You too. Take care. Bye-bye.